Yeah, I caught you. You said you were taking the dog out and then setting up the camera. Instead, you snuck in here to get your 15 seconds of fame. No, I set the camera up first, then tuned the guitar. The amp is the heart of the tone, but it's not the whole tone. It's the part that should feel like home, no matter where you plug in at. Now let's get into it before one of these amps wakes up and asks me to replace their tubes. All right, roll the logo. All right, the next bite of your enchilada, you're getting some meat. We're talking about the dual Cali amps, 2 of them. One in each channel, left and right. All right, that's it. Yep, this is just getting out of hand, man. Yeah, and I can't take it anymore. We need to talk about this because apparently the Cali, Texas Channel 1, this polite boutique church-friendly amp sounds like a 5150. A clean amp should not sound like a 5150. Does when you use it the way we do. Oh, good, great. So how about you tell the nice people why their Lone Star suddenly thinks it's playing extended scale guitars in a metal band? Okay. Well, the Cali, Texas Channel 1 is based on the Mesa Lone Star. Big 6L6 headroom, smooth mids, warm top end. It's supposed to be the responsible amp, the designated driver of amps. I guess. But it does have a little secret. Once you run it through a 5150 IR, and that IR is doing 60 to 70% of the workload, you're basically dressing a Lone Star in 5150 clothing. So what, the altar boy is now wearing combat boots, black eyeliner, and sporting a new attitude after church? Yep, but then we boost it hard. Minotaurs, clean boosts, a dry lane push, all the stuff that tightens the low end and pushes the mids, which is exactly what a 5150 front end does. So we bullied the Lone Star into acting like a 5150. Yes, and then we EQ it into the same mid-range shape as a 5150 rhythm section. So of course it's going to start sounding related. And honestly, part of why this works is because the early topology of both amps isn't all that different compared to what most people think. The first two gain stages on the Mesa Lone Star and the 5150 are actually laid out pretty similarly. Topology, right. I think I learned about this when I was in the Army. Geographical representation of the Earth is seen from above. Is that like mountains? Like amp topography? Like the elevation of tone? Topology, not topography. I'm talking about the circuit layout. How an electrical network can affect tone. The gain stages. The actual signal path. Right. The amp's terrain. No, not terrain, not hills, not valleys, just tubes and wires. I'm just saying, if the tone has peaks and valleys, that sounds like topography to me. This is why I drink coffee. So what you're saying is we took a Lone Star, boosted it, EQ'd it, compressed it, ran it through a 5150 IR, and now we're shocked and amazed that it sounds like a 5150? Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we did not discover a secret. We created a guitar player's Frankenstein tone monster. A very stable monster. A monster with clean headroom. A monster that behaves the same in every room. Which is why it works as the dry lane foundation. So the Lone Star is the preacher's daughter, and the 5150 IR is her unhinged cousin? Man. Exactly. One gives you clarity, one gives you aggression. Together they behave as a real stereo rig. Well, you're welcome, Internet. I choose the Cali model because it pairs insanely well with the 5150 IRs that I'm using. And it sounds very similar to my 96 5150 combo. So basically the Cali gives me that clarity and punch, and the 5150 IR gives me that aggressive edge. This right here is the dry side, the left channel. Oh boy, here we go. The dry side. The side that punches you in the chest and asks 0 questions. Because that's exactly what they're supposed to do.
This lane gets the boost pedal and nothing behind it to dampen the dBs. So this amp naturally hits harder.
It's harder. Yeah, this is the side that wakes the neighbors and apologizes never.
It's supposed to hit harder. It's the dry lane, pure signal, no safety net. It's the one throwing elbows without biting any ears off in the mix.
Throwing elbows? What is this? Tone-based MMA?
He means it's punchy without being harsh. Focus, please. It's more immediate, it's more percussive, and it doesn't need nearly as much volume from the amp block to make its point. Exactly. Dry lane amps don't need volume. They need authority.
So it's loud without being loud. Got it. Makes perfect sense.
This is the meat of the sound, the part that gives you punch, articulation, and that, oh yeah, that's the tone moment.
There it is. The oh yeah moment. The sound that makes you do the stank face.
That's because the dry lane carries the core tone. Everything else is decoration.
So the dry lane's the steak and the wet lane is the extra seasoning?
Exactly. And past thatch is about to show them the seasoning now. This lane, the right lane, is the wet side. This lane is pushing reverb, delay, modulation, all the time-based stuff that adds width.
Ah, yes. The make everything sound expensive side.
Time-based effects are literally how you fake a bigger room. It adds width and space. You know, the kind of space I wish I had instead of dealing with me all day.
Wow, dude. He just roasted himself and us in this same sentence.
He's not wrong. Wet lanes are basically emotional support ambiance. And because those effects naturally soften the signal, the amp needs a little more volume behind it.
Softens the signal? Like tone laundry?
He means reverb and delay smears the transients. So you have to push the amp harder to keep the stereo field balanced.
Right. Tone laundry.
And unlike my first marriage...
Oh no! He's about to talk about the X again.
Let him cook. He's making a point about stereo balance.
Yeah, but every time he mentions any X, the tone gets darker than the IR that he uses.
Focus. Wet lane. Volume compensation. Stay with me. This lane actually benefits from a little extra volume to help balance out that stereo field. Now, before we go any further, let me explain why we have the reverb directly after the amp block.
No, absolutely not. Past Thatch has completely lost his mind. Reverb after the amp? That's just tone heresy. That's how you summon the comment section demons.
You don't even know how reverb placement works.
Excuse me? I've watched at least 3 videos on this, and I'm basically a reverbologist.
That's not a thing.
It is now, and as a certified reverbologist, I am confidently saying reverb belongs in the loop because that's where the tone is.
Oh, come on now. You're just making up words.
Yes, but I'm saying it with confidence. And that's how arguments are won on the internet.
This makes the Helix react like a real amp. The preamp shapes the tone, the reverb adds space, and then the signal hits the loop splits.
See? Right there. Right there. He said preamp and reverb in the same sentence. This is illegal in at least 7 different states.
You do know that spring reverb lives after the preamp in a tubed amplifier and before the effects loop, right? He's literally doing it the correct way.
So he's right?
Yes.
And I'm wrong?
Painfully.
I would like to formally resign from my position as a reverbologist.
So, let's go ahead and show you how I dialed in the amps, both the left and right.
Whoa. We're just jumping straight into amp settings. No warm-up, no stretching, No viewer discretion advised. Technical content ahead.
This is the warm-up.
The comment section is still recovering from the reverb. You can't just drop amp settings on them raw. That's how you get people writing dissertations.
This is the part they came here for. Dry lane, wet lane, actual numbers, real settings. Let past that go.
So he's not going to do anything controversial again, right? Or burn us cooking again?
I don't know, it's past thatch. Who knows? Drive is how hard you're hitting that virtual amp.
Ah, yes, drive. The knob of destiny. The gateway to greatness. The reason why half the internet thinks they're producers.
You don't even know what drive does.
I do. Drive is the amount of gain you drive into the gain.
That's not even a functional sentence. Too low and the amp is going to feel stiff. Too high, and it's going to turn into a fuzzy mess that eats your articulation alive.
Okay, but too high? Because I've been running my drive at 9.7 since 2014, and I feel very targeted right now.
If your tone sounds like a wet blanket full of bees, that's a you problem.
It's called character. Thank you.
I set it in the middle and let the boost and minotaurs do the heavy lifting. It keeps the amp honest and not overworked.
The middle? The middle? Who sets drive in the middle? That's like ordering medium salsa. It's safe. It's responsible. It's tone adulting.
Exactly. He's letting the boost shape the breakup instead of forcing the amp to do all the work.
So you're telling me my entire personality has been too much drive this whole time?
Yes.
I need a minute.
The channel volume is your clean loudness control.
Clean loudness control. No. Nope. That sounds like a trap. That sounds like one of those knobs that secretly changes tone, even though it says it doesn't.
It literally doesn't change the tone. It just changes the level.
Yeah, that's what they want you to think.
It doesn't change the tone. It just changes how loud this amp is compared to everything else.
Okay, but like, if it gets louder, doesn't that feel like more tone? More tone per square inch? More tone density?
Volume is not tone density.
It is in my heart.
The dry side's going to be lower, the wet side is going to be higher. I balance both of them out so the stereo field feels even.
Wait. So the wet side is louder on purpose? You're telling me you're unbalancing the amps to balance the stereo field?
Because the wet lane gets softened by reverb, delay, chorus. It needs more level to sit evenly.
So the wet side is set louder because it's weaker.
Because it's softer.
So it's weak.
Stop talking.
I swear. Every time I think I understand amps, past thatch drops a sentence that makes me feel like I've been turning knobs at random since 2009.
Because you have. Master volume is where the amp breathes.
Breathes? Why is my amp breathing? It doesn't have any lungs. Why does everything in this preset have emotion?
It means it controls the feel. Not the tone. Not the gain. The feel.
Oh, great. Another knob with feeling.
Clean loudness control. Too low and it feels choked.
Like this? Is this what the amp feels like? Is this empathy? Is this bonding with the Helix?
Come on now. Stop. You're scaring the viewers. Too high and it gets spiky and uncontrollable.
Spiky and uncontrollable. So like me?
Exactly like you. I set it for feel, not volume. Enough to open up the power section, not enough to make the top end scream, "Look at me!"
Okay, but come on. Sometimes the top end should scream, "Look at me!" It's called confidence. It's called stage presence. It's called
harsh. and nobody likes harsh.
So the amp is supposed to breathe but not scream.
Correct.
So it's basically me as a toddler?
Yes, and past that is the only one here that can parent it. Bass isn't about sounding big. It's about staying out of the kick drum's way.
Wait. Bass isn't about sounding big?
Guitar low end isn't where size
And what
comes
have I been doing with my life?
Making mud. Tight, controlled, never boomy.
Okay. But wait. What if I want to sound big?
Then go play bass. Pay attention and learn something. Mids. The mids are where the guitar actually lives.
Lives? Nope. He's wrong again. Guitar lives in the chugs. Everybody knows
Chugs
that.
live in the mid-frequency range. Genius. Forward, present, never scooped.
Never scooped? Bro, I scoop my mids to 0. That's where the power is.
Bro, that's where the disappearance is. You're not powerful. You're a rumor in the mix.
But scoop mids sound huge in my room.
Yeah, so does a vacuum. But you don't want that in a band.
So chugging needs mids.
Chugging is mids. Forward mids aren't optional. They're the part of the guitar that actually exists. And then treble is clarity.
Clarity? Bro, treble is pain. Treble is how you lose friends.
Treble isn't pain. Your treble is pain. Enough to cut, not enough to hurt.
Cut? Dude, my treble cuts through walls. I've been kicked out of band practices for less.
Yeah, because you're not cutting. You're stabbing. Some things aren't supposed to go to 11.
Okay, but I need more treble so my solos shimmer.
No, you need practice so your solos shine. Treble just exposes the truth. Treble isn't supposed to hurt. If people flinch when you play, that's not tone. That's assault.
So treble isn't the enemy.
Only when you touch it. Presence is the amp's attitude knob.
Attitude? Like, can we please stop talking about feelings?
Your amp has feelings. It just doesn't have respect for you.
Too low and it sounds bored. Too loud and it sounds like it's filing a noise complaint against itself.
Filing a noise complaint. Bro, when I turn my presence up, my amp sounds like it's yelling at me.
Yeah, that's because you set it to scream into the void.
Okay, but like, presence makes my tone brighter, right?
Presence doesn't make it brighter, it makes it angrier. Like a drummer who is asked if they understand dynamics. Presence is feel, not sparkle. If your tone feels like it's arguing with you, that's not presence. That's user error.
So presence isn't treble?
Presence is treble's older brother that actually works out.
Sag is the squish factor. Ripple is the vintage hum simulator. Bias is the warmth control. And bias X is the dynamic behavior.
Squish, hum, warmth, behavior? Dude, it sounds like we're talking about a bed mattress.
And yet you still manage to sleep on them.
Make sure you use these wisely.
Wisely? Dude, I turned sag up once, and my amp felt like it needed a nap.
That's because you set the squish factor to overcooked lasagna.
And ripple? I thought that was like reverb for electricity.
Ripple simulates a vintage power supply, not a haunted light bulb.
Okay. Bias. That one makes it feel warmer, right?
Yes, warmer, not molten.
I got something right then. And bias X. That's like extra warm.
Bias X is the dynamic behavior. It's how the amp reacts when you dig in. Not warmth, but more confused.
The second you get cocky, your tone starts freelancing like it's got its own side hustle.
So these aren't beginner knobs.
No, these aren't your knobs.
Stack all this together, the drive, the channel volume, master volume, EQ, presence, the wet-dry balance, reverb placement, and the deep cut gremlins, and you get an amp section that behaves consistently, feels great under your fingers, and actually listens to you for once. All right, well, I'm Thatch, this is the Helix, and this has been my TED Talk on emotional tone stability for guitarists. Roll the logo, I'm getting coffee.
So if I touch bias X again, do you think it'll listen to me?
It never listened to you.